me. I mean, just like the simple connection of, posture, body language. We talk it, quite a bit, especially the younger students, obviously like body language, but then also, you come to the huddle and it's your head down and you're only thinking about what just happened. And it's only about, what you did versus, like eyes up, engage with your teammates so that you realize, this is the, team capacity. But then, yeah, you just add in when you're all hunched over, just thinking about what just happened on that last play. You're not breathing the right way. You're not recovering the right way in the huddle. You're not ready to see what your teammates are, looking like, how they're acting. I think, yeah, that one resonates with me where you just like connect the little pieces that, show the different layers and how to use them.
Welcome to the Flow State Yoga for Athletes podcast. I'm your host, Dan Rosenak, lifelong student athlete, here to share with you interesting discussions featuring athletes and coaches exploring health and human performance, yoga, and flow state awareness. I hope this show helps us all access our highest potential. Thank you and enjoy the journey. Welcome to the Flow State Yoga Therapy Podcast. Jeff Cohen, head men's lacrosse coach from Clark University, my alma mater in Worcester, Massachusetts. Welcome, Coach Cohen.
Thank you for having me. I feel honored.
This is really cool. It's just connecting all the these seasons of life, right? We were just chatting. Coach Cohen came in 2 years after I graduated from Clark and really has taken the program to another level of competitiveness and just really instilled a deep sense of culture at Clark University. So we want to chat about that. We want to chat about his journey, and we'll discuss some other themes about yoga and flow state in sports. So with that, Coach Cohen, can you talk about your athletic journey that brought you to Clark?
Sure. So, I would say, a long time ago, came to Clark University. It was, joined a program, that, was kind of been in beginning stages. They've had a varsity program since, late 80s, early 90s, a little controversy on when it became varsity. But, as first year coming into Clark, I think that it was real eye opening, coming into the college scene. And, I think we certainly had our struggles, early on, and there was, different and going. It was before, Coach Dave Davis came in as the first full-time coach after I had left. But, it was incredible. I grew up playing sports, loved the competition, loved the team aspect of it. And, it, had to battle through the years here to make sure that we had a team, we had a competitive team. And our senior year, we actually ran out of players and the season was canceled. And I always say somehow that, flipped a switch where it somehow led me into coaching because I was never able to get the fulfillment as a player. And I wasn't very good, but I loved playing. I loved competing. And so I think that's how it kind of carried the desire to stay in the sport. And so, I had a couple opportunities of coaching and then, coaching full time and then coming back as, with the head job opportunity here. But that's how it began, I think it was the fact that, Clark at that time, had the opportunity to be something special. And when Coach Davis came in and players like yourself came in, it started that process to be at the level where, I guess we're still striving to reach. But yeah, I guess that's why I'm here and I'm coaching and loving it. Seriously.
Well, we're glad you're here. Entering your 16th season?
Yeah, something like that. I don't even want to think about it. In 2010, I got back after a few stints coaching at Western New England and MIT is volunteered. Then I was at Colgate as an assistant for a while before getting the opportunity to come back here. But it's nice to connect the dots because from 2002 to 2010, it's working at other institutions and I didn't have um, kind of the engagement with Clark and knowing about the program. So it's good to see the players like yourself. I only heard about the legends of, Rose Mack and a couple of the other guys that I had missed.
I was just chasing ground balls. Nothing.
All right, you're still in the record books for us.
How would you describe your coaching style?
So like recruits will ask, and sometimes I'm like kind of like, back. You look at, your style or who you are. I mean, I just, I've always tried to just be myself. I probably hold the bar, high. It's like a high standard on and off the field. I think the guys know that I love them. I back them. I'll support them. Go to war with them, whatever it may be. Um, but there's got to be a level of respect, so they understand what I'm trying to do. I understand that they're, 18 to 23-year-olds. But I expect them to be instantly mature and understanding of the university, how they represent, school and myself and the program and everyone that came before, everyone that will come after. But I think it's, I had a two-time captain who just graduated in our last, and he was like a senior night. We had a reception after, and he said, Coach Cohen, it's a bunch of tough love. So I was like, all right, I'll take that.
That's awesome. I bet the guys appreciate that you're holding them to a high standard.
Yeah, it's a good group. These guys are like so driven. And I'm constantly asking for more. I talk like in this kind of landscape, there's a lot of guys that want to achieve everything at the highest level. And they're driven to do so. They just always want it to be, they always want it to be fun while doing it. And so I try to let them understand my mindset. I'm like, I love having fun, but what you think is fun and I think is fun is probably two different categories. I was like, anything that leads us to success, anything that's a winning culture, winning preparation, challenges, anything that leads us to that winning goal and that winning culture, I find fun. So and I joke when I say if it's raining sideways and it's, 33 degrees out there, and I think that it's getting us to be a tougher team, a stronger mindset team in those conditions, I'm going to enjoy it. You're looking at me like, what is he talking about? It's freezing. It's like, it's wet, it's cold, and it's freezing. I'm like, no, there's got to be this little element of like, want it. It's preparing us, to be a better team.
I love that idea of just process orientation, preparing in the elements.
Yeah.
Well, my business as a yoga educator, yoga therapist, as a coach is named Flow State Yoga Therapy, in part because of this idea of peak performance. Flow state meaning the subject and the object are one, right? The athlete and the task become one. This perfect balance between difficulty and skill where there's no thinking, just doing. Have you had experiences like that yourself as a coach, as a player, or have you seen these kinds of experiences?
So yeah, you can definitely, I think a lot of it, again, I'm process, detail oriented. It's the plan that must, um, you know, be practiced so that when the adversity hits, you're able to handle the moment, understand the moment, but not be, maybe like distracted by it. And so I think that's, what you're getting at. I think I've seen guys, um, you see like in the moment and they're just comfortable, whether it's, overtime, whether it's to start a big game, whether it's in a huddle on the sideline, you see the clear eyes. And if the whole team has that, the energy and the feeling, and that goes to the coaches as well, it just seems like it's seamless. Like they know what's expected. They know what I'm going to ask of them. They've done it. They've practiced it. They've lived it, on the practice field and the game fields. And so it just becomes a simple process. And they are having fun doing it. And we're doing what is scripted and planned. And their teammates know what's happening next because everyone's on the same page. So like I'm like X's and O's. Well, if we all know the plan, we're going to be able to anticipate one another. We're going to know what the language is and the communication aspect is. So it's going to be seamless. And yeah, you find those moments when the teams click in, everyone's one step ahead. To me, it's all, because of how I operate. It's like, it's all program, system, X's and O's practiced and then executed. But as a coach, I end up ignoring the mental side of it sometimes, of how the young man is processing and how to get into that area of my career. But you can certainly feel when you have what you want, your team is on board with it, and it's being executed at a high level.
Practice would be that cultivation of the conditions for that to
Yes. There's so much that goes into it, like on the field, off the field. But from my view, my angle of it is, it's like, it's all the field stuff, which is probably, like, we say like, 10%, and the other 90 is, off the field and in between the years. So again, we're always learning, always learning.
That's awesome. We have a mutual connection to an individual named Dr. Joe Fish, who is a Clark alum and a renowned sports psychologist based in the Philadelphia area. He's worked with athletes at the highest level, pro sports, Olympians. Tell me about his work with your student athletes.
So Joel, has a deep connection to Clark, and obviously an alum, and then his daughter played athletics here at Clark. And so Joel would come through, every few years, sometimes a couple times a year, and meet with the department, meet with all the coaches, offer session to speak to the team. And at every time he's come to speak with us, I still can remember, like once it was in the locker room, this is probably in like 2010, 2011. Once we're in the university center in a larger capacity speaking to the department. Another time we're in a classroom setting, twice in a classroom setting, and he spoke just to our athletes. And I've like so captivating. He's got, he's, like Clarky through and through. He loves it. He's passionate about it. But in true like Clark fashion, he's got the ability to kind of like understand the athletic piece, and the integral parts of the game and the mind, and it always just blows my mind. So like every time he comes in, like I just try to take every little thing that he brings up and take it into account. But we've had some awesome experiences. He's incredible. He's spoken with our team on numerous occasions, and it always is like, he just, he captivates the group. Um, and yeah, he's was special. I mean, in terms of, the time and the energy and the effort that he gives the department and the university.
How lucky are these athletes to receive these sessions from him? Boy, true.
I
So
still
cool.
remember, I think I told you once when we were first speaking, he described something that was kind of like, specific to lacrosse and to one of our best players ever to come through the program. And he had a way of looking at it and analyzing the situation and hearing from the student athlete. And it totally um, was, it like opened my eyes to something that I would have never thought of, number one, but never even like considered, wasn't even on my radar. And it just made complete sense. And it was able to allow me to connect with the athlete at a different level. Again, he was an All-American to come through the university, but um, it just totally gives you a view into that athlete's mindset that I would have never in a million years have come up with. And he was like 2 minutes, talked to him for 30 seconds, and it was just like, you know, just pinpointed exactly, what this athlete was looking for, what he needed. So I thought I mean, he's special. He's very in depth.
What a treasure. Um, yeah. So I'm actually ran into Dr. Fish back in, let's see, I think this would have been November. There was a Clark alumni event, I believe, November in Philadelphia, uh, at the lakes. Fargo.
Big deal.
Yeah, yeah. Cool experience. I'm brought some in-laws, my wife, my father-in-law, both native Philadelphians, diehard Eagle fans. I didn't know who would be there. I bump into Dr. Fish. I know about him because of his work, and um, we start chatting, explain to him what I do, yoga education, holistic yoga therapy for athletes, and he immediately got it. He's like, that's the direction things are going. Like that's where high level athletic programs are headed. You're going to have, yeah, psychologists. You're going to have strength conditioning, and then you're going to have like an integrated mind body kind of resource. So, and to me, I was like, oh wow, that's empowering. If that's encouraging, yeah. That was really cool to hear from him that like there's this kind of new direction off the field coaching is going in where this, connection between the brain and the body, the mind and the body is addressed. And, how do you see that playing out and kind of, where athletics is going, where it's heading? What does the next chapter look like to you?
Well, I think of a better idea of explaining it to me. But I think that with everything and I'll use the Clark lacrosse team, with everything that they have going on, with the academics, the social side of things, the plan for the future and the prep for the future for after, Division III lacrosse. There's so much involved that to me, the best of what I focus on, which would be, within the team and within, culture of the team and then how we practice and prepare. There's so much to do to help them off the field that then certainly helps them on the field. But as a coach, rarely do I connect the dots. I mean, like we're barely connecting the dots between, strength and conditioning to athletic training and rehab to then being optimal on the field. It's like you're barely, um, being optimal at those levels. And then, it's like, well, the opportunity, like you said, to focus on, I think that the right mental state to be at the best for all those levels to then, be optimal as a young man at Clark versus in the specifics, or to be, the best player, and the best teammate. It's just an area that, um, obviously I don't know enough about to formulate like where it's going in the plan, but I think everyone knows that it's like such a, useful tool, and everyone in athletics is asking for those connections to be made. But as a coach, it's like, I lean on the professionals to say, like, how do you do it? What's the best way? How do you do it with someone who is less open to the idea of, that sort of, functionality to help. Just thinking a couple of our athletes that are, they just want to put their head down and run through a wall, which I love. That was probably more of how I operated.
That's
Um,
how I played.
yeah, that's what I've heard, but to understand how, useful it can be when you, are just kind of in tune with everything else.
Sure.
But in terms of the path, yeah, I mean, I think the three of Clark, if we had the resources, there's more time, energy, and effort put into that, which makes, life on the field or life off the field, a lot easier for these young men.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a model in yoga philosophy called um, the five koshas, which is it's a Sanskrit word that means like layers or sheets. And it goes like this. It's pretty simple. That you have, imagine like, descending size layers, and they would be labeled on the outside, the physical body, right? What we can touch, organs. Then within that is the breath or energy layer. Within that is the mind, the lower mind or the emotions, constantly changing. It's always moving. Within that would be the higher mind or wisdom, intellect, the discerning, analyzing layer. And finally, like, is our bliss layer or our soul, if that resonates with anyone, the spiritual level that doesn't change, right? So you're looking at an individual with this model, right? We have to be healthy in our body. We have to be healthy in our breathing. We have to be healthy in mind, and that's usually the biggest obstacle. The yoga could be thought of as a lifestyle science to create mastery over the mind.
Yeah.
That's how I like to explain.
Yeah. And like, I understand it all. I like, to me, it's, how do you go about it?
Yeah.
Like what is the process? What is, the things that you're coaching and that
Yeah.
get, that just, to begin here and just like thinking about how it all, relates and connects, to like different sheets. Like, to me, it's just like, I'd say it's all toxic running from my.
Yeah, this is the unique thing about this, this ancient system, right? There's all kinds of like self-help models and the 7 habits of success, all these things. Um, Yoga as a lifestyle science would predate all of that. So that, this will stick around. Go ahead. But to your question, like, how do you do it? This is where somebody with this kind of expertise can be helpful, I think, in athletics and cultivating the conditions for optimal performance on and off the field is done through practice, through those layers, working with the body, creating more mobility, more dimensions of movement that can on its own can unlock creativity that may be latent or unrealized. working with the breath, recognizing like, how am I breathing? Like, how's my posture and how does that impact my lungs in my
Yeah.
breathing?
Sure.
If I'm doing this in, in between classes, and that's going to affect how I breathe.
Yeah.
So if I'm breathing like shit, that's going to affect my emotional state.
Yeah. Sure.
And if I'm not clear in my mind, like I can't, be a functional student athlete. I can't study. I can't practice at my best. So I help teach the integration of
Yeah.
these
Yeah. Absolutely.
layers. And then, if the mind is quiet, like if you can develop a meditation practice or at least physical yoga practice that helps create peace of mind, clarity, clearness, and we can use our higher mind with better discernment, making better choices. Then why would we pick that unhealthy food in the cafeteria? We want the healthy thing that's going to make me feel better. When we're students, we tend to eat. We eat worse. We eat more sugars. We eat more caffeine. So this is how I try to like help as an educator to integrate yoga as a lifestyle.
Yeah, that resonates with me. I mean, just like the simple connection of, posture, body language. We talk it, quite a bit, especially the younger students, obviously like body language, but then also, you come to the huddle and it's your head down and you're only thinking about what just happened. And it's only about, what you did versus, like eyes up, engage with your teammates so that you realize, this is the, team capacity. But then, yeah, you just add in when you're all hunched over, just thinking about what just happened on that last play. You're not breathing the right way. You're not recovering the right way in the huddle. You're not ready to see what your teammates are, looking like, how they're acting. I think, yeah, that one resonates with me where you just like connect the little pieces that, show the different layers and how to use them. I guess.
Yeah, I love that, huddle that you provide there. Like somebody comes into the huddle, they're like, and doing this, or they're better, they're hands on their knee. They're, it's not possible for them to be present or
Right.
the next,
Right.
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 What's the next play?
Yeah.
Doing?
Sure.
It- So that I'm sure, Joel Fish would have, mentioned something around this idea, like next play mentality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was a 2010 meeting. Maybe it was
Yeah.
2011. But it was in the first meetings we ever had. This was in our locker room. I still remember it. And it's something I've always believed, next play mentality, like plan forward, trust the teammates, trust that these guys are with you. And it's always the next play mentality going great, whether the adversity is hitting, whether things are going down. And he brought the same language up in the huddle, or excuse me, in the locker room that these guys have been hearing from me. And I remember being like, yes, I got somebody that's back in, but again, just the numerous touch points. But I can still remember, I mean, it was probably like my first year, my second year, and he's teaching, talking in the locker room on one of his visits. And yeah, brought up the next play mentality. And I just felt like, see, like the doctor's even saying it. So like, Coach Cohen might have something that's worth listening to here.
That's huge. I love that. Yeah. Another one of the aspects to my work is self-study. So I lead the client or the program in a process, kind of self-assessment. And one of those self-assessments that I leverage a lot is the food journal, using the kosher's model. So giving somebody this model, teaching it, and okay, here's a worksheet I want you to fill out. I want you to kind of document what you feed yourself in every one of those layers. How are you feeding yourself physically? What food do you
Okay. Yeah.
right? And what are your movement practices? What are you doing in the gym? What's your mobility work? Like when do you do that in the day? And then reflecting on how that affects the other layers.
Sure.
You do your workout. How do you feel mentally after the workout?
Yep.
How do you feel when you eat, that healthy breakfast after practice in the morning
Yeah.
versus just chugging that coffee and rushing to class? Like, how do you feel mentally if you
Yeah.
compare those?
Sure.
Like, really trying to help athletes begin to tune in and develop a higher level of awareness around their entire experience.
Yeah. That certainly resonates too. I mean, again, like when you strip it down to, the simple layers and, as the coach, I can understand that. Just in terms of, the diet, the process, how you're feeling before and after working out, meals, a good night's rest, um, I think you get it, especially for like the college athletes, Clark specifically that have all these different demands, for someone to be taking, account or asking them to take account of the different aspects to see how they feel throughout the day, function throughout the day based off of certain things that they're doing, just connects the dots, rather than, like you just said, racing to class, drinking a whatever, caffeinated, you know, can of whatever, that to get ready for practice versus what, is, bigger picture, and a better, better process. I think
It's
all
like,
that really resonates with kind of how I operate on the day to day.
yeah, like treat yourself like an athlete. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
invite them to it, in every element, even on the weekend nights.
yeah. So what do you see as the like optimal Clark experience being right now? Like, what can you talk to the kind of the value of the Clark education? I believe in the Clark experience and what it's done for me.
Yeah.
But those who may not know as much about the university, what makes playing lacrosse at Clark special? And from a experience standpoint as a student, what makes it
Yeah.
special?
So I think like Clark is super unique. And again, the time, the last couple of weeks and the next couple of weeks, we're recruiting our, 2025 class of guys that won't be on campus for another year. And we've got, our offers out and we're taking commitments over the next week. But my conversations to them, selling the university, I think has a couple main points that I try to hit. Number one, I think you have, a small, tight knit community with, beautiful old brick buildings and, green grass quads and that combination where you feel like you're, in the middle of a small liberal arts campus. But then what makes Clark unique is you're also in a city. Again, you're an hour outside of Boston, but you're in Worcester with 30,000 college students that are in Worcester. And it's actually, right now it's like the second biggest city in New England behind Boston. So you have this small, tight-knit liberal arts, campus community, yet you have the city environment. So I think, again, it's like makes it unique. Clark's very academic. It's a liberal campus. I think that the next unique piece that's Clark specific is most of the guys coming into our program currently right now, they're either interested in the business or the sciences. The most popular is business. And what makes Clark unique in that area is the accelerated master's program. So, if you have the location with the city environment, high academic institution, and you have your accelerated master's piece where guys are doing their undergrad work and then rolling right into a fifth year accelerated master's, that's unique than many of these other institutions they're looking at. And I'm always like, and the most big thing is that master's is free if you get into the program. So our guys are coming in for 2 degrees. They're only paying for their undergrad. And in 5 years, they're typically done with school, walking out with go MBA or a master's in finance, accounting, masters in some of the science programs as well. So, they're walking into the business world looking at non-entry level jobs because they have their masters when they're finishing their 5-year plan. And again, that master's being tuition free is super unique. So you have those two experiences. The group that I'm looking at right now, we're going to graduate. I think we'll have one of our better teams ever next year. We have, 10 grad students coming back. I think it's 6 seniors, very top heavy, driven group, a group that kind of, I think right now understands exactly what's expected and what we're going to have to do to get back to championship level like we were pre-COVID. So that group is ready to go. I think the team's going to be, I think it'll be one of the best teams we ever had. And then to recruit into that class, I'm trying to tell guys right now, I'm not trying to rebuild it. We're looking to reload. So I'm looking to bring in 15 guys that are going to come in and be competitive, that are going to be competing for game time right away. And as a third of the team being, freshmen, we can't be a young team. I have to try to find these high caliber student athletes, and the 15 of them need to come in with that mentality that they're trying to come into play and they're coming in for starting time right away. So that's my sell right now. It's the ability to play the 5-year program and the university being, unique in terms of its geographic location and the type of school that it is. So there's my pitch. There's my sit down. And yeah, we're hoping to, lock up 15 committed guys in the next, probably 3 weeks or right now.
Sign me up, coach.
Ready to go?
I'm ready.
We need to just stay on the wing.
One of my greatest, I won't say regrets, but I think missed opportunities was not taking a single psychology class at
Really?
Now, I know you were a psych major.
Yeah, stumbled right into it.
But great academic experience for me personally. But how did I miss that? I mean, it's
What
a
did you
natural.
graduate with? What degree?
I was an econ major, and like a business minor almost, entrepreneurship minor. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like so many amazing programs. You've got like the sciences, the Sackler Science Center is it still called the Sackler Science Center?
Yeah.
That's
You know,
that was like being built and launched in my undergraduate time. We had with psychology, geography, the business school was thriving. International development, I know, has always been strong.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, so many great programs, and that you highlight that 5th-year opportunity. It's like so huge. So many of my teammates took advantage of that, and
Yeah.
it's a great value for so many students.
Yeah. A lot of times, you're talking to high school students and it's their parents that kind of realize what that opportunity is. The young man at 17 is like, well, anything like a 5-year plan for me right now. Like,
Exactly.
I'd like to just get on a lacrosse field and have some.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, very unique university. It's definitely, as an alum, you can appreciate it. But yeah, it's like no other. It's really it's an interesting learning environment. It's kind of how I try to describe it.
And alums finding success in so many different sectors. I mean, you eat from Jeff Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, to just artists and creative people, and
Yeah.
there's in literally every industry is.
The Milwaukee Bucks owner, when they won the championship, he was majority owner of that team as well. And he was a Clark alum. Keep saying I'm waiting for Mr. Lurie to, put a bubble over our field or something. And
I'll ask him about that at the next event. And
yeah, next time he brings you in.
yeah, so cool. And the other cool thing I always loved about Clark was the international student base. It has always been, I think, uniquely large for the size of the school.
Yeah. So for liberal arts, New England, that type of school that have the international draw and their international population. I always say like Clark is a worldly learning environment. Yeah, it's another unique aspect too.
Put- Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, can you share any, back to this idea of peak performance, flow state on the field? Can you share any like team culture practices that have worked well in the past, or that you guys are doing now to kind of bring in that collective um, energy that helps drive success?
Yeah, I think like something that comes to mind just, off the top of my head um, what we've had when our teams are the best, um, is a group of upperclassmen that, um, understands, how hard it is to play, at this level and to be successful at this level. And so, they take it very seriously. I think they have a lot of fun. They hold their academics, and they hold each other to high standards. But I think when we're at our best, I'm seeing eye to eye with all of them, and I am comfortable letting them lead the group. So if I'm pulling the seniors and the grad students to be what I would want as leaders, um, on and off the field, typically it's not working as well as, team culture, team environment, where when they are driving and they're leading the team from the front and they have the support and the full group, well, like all the upperclassmen are on board, it allows me to coach it with a different style, versus pulling them along or, um, trying to work with them specifically when they're on board and they're leading the group, then I get to manage the whole team differently. And so, in terms of our culture, um, they grow and develop throughout their 4 or 5 years in the program. Um, but when we're seeing eye to eye and they're upholding the values of our priorities and our mutually respectful culture, and our team first and competitive nature, like if they are dialed into those core values, everyone underneath follows suit, but it allows me to coach at a different, um, and I don't know if it's different style, but I'm just able to focus on the bigger picture, knowing that I got this group of young men, and it will be 15 of them next year. That are like doing all the little things the right way. They know how to be successful. They know how hard it is. They know what it takes. And then I get to set the bar maybe higher than I would if, I was constantly trying to just, get our upperclassmen on the same page. And so, I think that's a cultural piece. And I think that also, goes in line with having resources all over campus, whether it's, someone in the academic front, someone on the, in the strength and conditioning front, seeing eye to eye with the athletic trainers and like the whole culture, with someone who's going to be involved, from the, an area like what you're going to be doing. Like it all makes it seamless. And so again, if those upperclassmen are on board and the resources are all together, well, then culturally that team is going to be ready to, be optimal on the field. So, um, I don't know. I'm not quite sure if I'm answering, the question directly, but it's that cultural group when the top is buttoned,
Yes.
life's just easier as a coach and a director of a program.
I'm thinking about like, so imagine you're driving a manual transmission car, you're coaching in fourth gear. When those seniors are locked in, like you can drop into fifths and
Yeah,
really like,
it's true. It's
the
true.
car can drop, your yeah, your coaching vehicle can really like hit its
Yeah.
peak. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes sense. And again, a lot of it for me to be doing that, each one of those individual upperclassmen, need to have everything else, buttoned up. And one of those areas is like, well, are they, on top of the academics? So they're getting their rest, so that they're getting their prep, so they're getting their food, so they have time for the film, so they're engaged in practice. I mean, like to me, um, like, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm trying to feel out. And then, yeah, you need all the different resources on campus, within the department, outside of the department, to have them, um, be able to do it.
Coaching is higher level work, man. If you're fitting,
I don't. So I'll tell you this: I came in with that looking to be an economics major, and I certainly couldn't grasp that material, and that's how I stumbled into psychology.
what was it? Who was your favorite Clark professor? Do you have a memorable like academic relationship?
So
Or experience?
I think if you knew my GPA getting out of college, so
It's not worth
I was, yeah, from day one. I was not the student of the family. The professor that always comes to mind, I am drawing a blank on her name, but she was teaching a history class, and this is in 2000. So, you know, 24 years ago. So it took a history course with her, and I still remember some of the like excerpts and some of the we focused on it. It was a time period. It was like 1865 to early 1900s, which sounds probably pretty boring. The topics that she would bring up in the readings and the passages and what the discussions were, I still remember many of the lectures like it was yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. It's, that image from your perspective was really neat to hear about. Like, well, all these things need to be working for team success to take place.
Yeah.
And so how many are on your roster now? Like 50 something guy?
No, so we're usually in the mid 40s.
Mid 40s. So you've got 40 something student athletes, young men, 18 to 23, who you have to trust to make good decisions as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a job.
But so they can show up to practice. And I mean, I think every coach would agree, like that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. You think of each individual, like you said, with all different elements that they need to be, focusing on, yet we don't have the resources to help just connect the dots like you were in just, communicating with me. Again, it's resources and it's people and it's staffing that to make it happen. Yet, yeah, 45-man roster, and a lot of these guys are working to figure it out, somewhat on their own.
Yeah. And I also think that's part of that's the cool part of D3 sports. It's like you're not just an athlete, and
Right.
you do have to do more on your own.
Yeah.
I would argue, and than many, at the D1 level, at the
Sure.
highly levels, especially where the road is just more paved for the athletic experience.
Yep. Yep.
There's a lot more agency and autonomy that is developed. I would argue in the D3 experience because of that difference in coaching, staffing, in design, in just the rules of engagement as a coach. It's a totally different experience, but I think about how that's so formative for adult development in student athlete.
Yeah, you can say it's a positive. Depending on how you look at it.
Cool. And any last remarks on what to expect for Clark in the upcoming season? Things you're excited about?
I'm excited about the group coming back. I think you got a hungry breed. New varsity weight links being built.
Well, where's that?
Yeah, so it's in the Neller. They're Yeah, the plans are expanding into a couple of the racquetball courts that aren't being used as much. So, yeah, varsity weight room coming back. I think that helps our guys in terms of their off the field crowd. But no, it's an exciting program. Tell you, time we're trying to get back to where we were pre-COVID, and we've been real aggressive this summer. Uh, if we keep that momentum going.
Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Jeff, for your time. And we're going to be cheering you guys on coming to the fall ball.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to working with you moving forward. Get these guys, everything that they need, on and off the field to be at their best.
Right on. Thanks again.
All right, thank you.
I hope this show helps us all access our highest potential. You can learn more about my work as a yoga therapist at flowstateyogatherapy.com or on social media at flowstateyogatherapy. You can also email me at flowstateyogatherapy@gmail.com. I look forward to connecting with you all. I hope you find an interesting nugget in this episode. I hope you share this with a friend, and I hope you reach out to me with feedback. It is valuable. Thank you again, and enjoy the journey.